samsaradava nalalita loka taranaya karunya gana ganatam samsaradava nalalita loka taranaya karunya gana ganatam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasora Sena Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Romanchakam Vashutaranga Pajo Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Romanchakam Vashutaranga Pajo Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shira Vigrahara Dana Nitya Nana Shingara Dhammanthira Marjanado Grahara Dana Nitya Nana Shingara Dhammanthira Marjanado Yutasya Bhaktam Chanyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Yutasya Bhaktam Chanyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Chatuvidhashi Bhagavat Prasada Swadhanna Tripta Hari Bhakta Sangha Chatuvidhashi Bhagavat Prasada Swadhanna Tripta Hari Bhakta Sangha Kriteva Triptim Bhajathasa Daiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Kriteva Bhajathasa Daiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Shri Radhika Madhava Yorapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Nam Nam Shri Radhika Madhava Yorapara Madhurya Lila Gunarupa Nam Nam Pratishanasa Danalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Pratishanasa Danalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Nikunja Yuno Radhikeli Siddhai Yayari Pir Yuktira Peshaniya Nikunja Yuno Radhikeli Siddhai Yayari Pir Yuktira Peshaniya Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Tatrati Dakshat Ativallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Sashathari Tena Samasta Shastre Uttasthatha Bhavyateva Sadvihi Sashathari Tena Samasta Shastre Uttasthatha Bhavyateva Sadvihi Hindu Prabhorya Priyeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Hindu Prabhorya Priyeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasadam Nakati Kutopi Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nakati Kutopi Jayam Stuvam Stasya Yashasti Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Jayam Stuvam Stasya Yashasti Sandhyam Vande Guru Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopa Govindaram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madha Radha Nila Madha Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Nila Madha Radha Nila Madha Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha. Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nittai Gaura Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Hari Bolo, Nittai Gaura Hari Bolo. Jai Om Shinu Pada Brahmamsa Prajaka Acharya Shtota Shadashi Shimadi's Divine Grace. Aparachana Vrinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON PPT Bhaktivedanta Institute Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Brahmamsa Prajaka Acharya Shtota Shadashi Shimadi's Divine Grace. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavanda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa Ki Jai. प्रेमी से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री व्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम चैत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। समावृत भक्तवृंद की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praglada Lada Dayine. Hiranyakashi Purvakchaha. Chilantanka Nakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yamitato narsimho. Bahir narsimho hirdaye narsimho. Bahir narsimho hirdaye narsimho. Narasimhamadim saranam prapate. Tavakara kamalavare nakam abhuta shingam dalita hiranyakashipu tanubringa. Kesavatirtha Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Shipo Tanubringa Keshavatirtha Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jayo Keshavatirtha Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Hare Hari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Narasimhade Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Shri Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.
Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Piyaya Keshava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Piyaya Keshava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai.
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha
Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Yei Abhilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Yei Abhilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pabo Yei Abhilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Yei Abhilashi
जे तुम्हार शरण लोय तारा वंश पूर्ण होय
ये तुम्हार शरण लो तारा वंश पूर्ण हो
कृपा कोरी करो तारे वृंदावन वासी
कृपा कोरी तोरो तारे वृंदावन
मोरा ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास। नयने हेरिबो सदा जुगल रूपरासी। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रियसी। नमो नमः ये निवेदन धरो सखीरनुगत करो सेवा। सेवा अधिकार दिए करो निज दासी। दीन कृष्ण दासे को ये न मोरा होय। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये नवासी। श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये नवासी। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माद्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माद्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माद्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी। जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी। नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। वृंदे देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वृंदे देवी तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय।
Oh, Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. My desire is to the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes short of you has wishes fulfilled. Bestow mercy upon him and make him a resident of Vrindavana. My desire also grant me residence in the precious groves of Shri Vrindavana town. Thus within my vision shall always behold the beautiful paths of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of a carol dance of the Virgin. Please give me the privilege devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in the love Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting holy names that should be avoided, and they are as follows. 1. To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the names of demigods, la Lord Shiva, la Brahma, to be equal to independent of name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of a spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuant the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glorious chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation of the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting holy name. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma, kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about glorious holy name. 10. To not complete faith in the chanting holy names and to maintain material attachments in understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer most humble obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just as light trees who can fulfill to everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Jeto darpana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shriya Gairavachantrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamita Sadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Paravijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pita Niyamita Smaranina Kalaha Etatishi Tavakripa Bhagavam Mamapi Turudevami Disham Yaha Janina Nurakaha Trinatapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Harihi Na Thanam Na Janam Na Sundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Jamani Jamanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haituki Tavai Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthitaturi Satesham Vichintaya Nayanam Galadashru Daraya Vadanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakaya Nichitam Vapur Kada Tava Nama Kahane Bhavishati Yuga itam nimishena chakshusha pravisha itam shunya itam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me ashrishava padaratam pinnashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotu va yatha tatha va vitathatu lampato mat prananatastu sa eva na paraha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes fire of conditional life for repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana moon is a prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads a rays and benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases ocean transcendent bliss, and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone grants all benediction to human beings. Thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, our kindness enables us to easily approach you by holy names, but I'm so unfortunate and have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more taller than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your constant devotional service, birth after birth. O Sanhamarjananda Krishna, I'm an eternal servitor, yet somehow that I have fallen to the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the Adam the lotus feet. O my Lord, one will my eyes be decked with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant the holy name, while my voice choke up and all the hairs of my body stand end a citation of your name. O Govinda, feeling of separation, I'm constant moment to be like a great millennium. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything, everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam Ki Jai. Shri Mangala Aarti Prayers Ki Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Om Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachadadesha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripaptaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhavin Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Tarine Rupanuga Viruta Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nyadeshta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpa Turubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sratoro Pangor Mamamanda Mater Gati Masarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vindadana Kaupadumadaha Shimadra Nagara Sinhasanastho Shimadra Shila Govinda Devo Prishtaribi Sevyamano Smarami Shiman Rasarasarambi Vamsivata Tatastitaha Karasham Vinu Saner Gopir Gopinatha Shiyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Mangalacharna Press Ki Jai. Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai. Ishvara Parama Krishna Savchidananda Vigraha Anadya Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Parakara Satma Sukapa Viksha Lakshariteshu Surabhi Rabi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahmasevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavanantam Aravinda Dalaya Daksham Paraharvatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Gantarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chantakalasa Vanamara Vamshi Ranang Kadam Panayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tripanga Lalitam Yatapakasham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani yasya sakalendra vidvimanti pashanti panti karayanti chiram jaganti ananda chimma satujala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami advaitam achotam anadi mananta rupam adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha vedeshu durabam adurabam atma bhakto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavassara Sampragamyo Vayuratapi Manaso Munipangavaanam Sophiyasti Yapapata Simya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopiyar Sora Chayitum Jagatanta Kotim Yachakti Rasti Jagatanta Chayaya Tantaha Antantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Pushaha Suktaryam Eva Nikama Patitaistu Vanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chimmarasa Pratibhavitapi Starpiya Evanja Rupataya Kalapihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhutto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churuta Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hidayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundam Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Aramati Mutishu Kalanya Mena Tishtan Nanavataram Akaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramapumam Yo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna, who is not Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin and is the cause of all causes.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with a moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendent form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure and unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is the person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane, extending over thousands of millions of years.
He is an undifferentiated entity as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
I adore the same Govinda, the primary Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveniences, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidant Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa.
I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, who is Shyamasundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with eye of devotion tinged with a sob of love.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrisimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portion. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 purport. Srinvatam swakata Krishna punyasravana kirtanaha hridayanta histo hi apatrani vidunoti suhrit satam nasta prayesva abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschayi cheta eterana vedam sitam satve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogatah bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hrudya grantes chidyante sarva samasyaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishvare.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity, and for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
In this way, devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished.
When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the signs of God perfectly.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of a samshayam samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita 18.51 to 53. Buddhya visuddhaya yukto daryatmanam niyamacha sabdadin visasyam chaktva ragadvesho vyadasyacha viviktasevi lagvasi yata vakaya manasha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupvarshitaha ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam parigraham vimuchya nirmaha mahasanto brahmam bhuyaya kalpate. Buddhya, with the intelligence, visuddhya, fully purified, yukta, engaged, dhritya, by determination, atmanam, the self, niyama, regulating, cha, also, sabdha, adin, such as sound, visayan, the sense objects, tvaktva, giving up, raga, attachment, dveshav, and hatred, vyudasya, laying aside, cha, also, vivikta sevi, living in a secluded place, lagu asi, eating a small quantity, yata, having controlled, vak, speech, kaya, body, manasaha, in mind, dhyana yoga para, absorbed in trance, nityam, 24 hours a day, vairagyam, detachment, samuparshitaha, having taken shelter of, ahankaram, false ego, balam, false strength, darpam, false pride, kamam, lust, krodham, anger, parigraham, and acceptance of material things. Vimuchya, being delivered from nirmamaha, without a sense of proprietorship. Santaha, peaceful. Brahma Bhujaya, for self realization. Kalpate is qualified. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self realization. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When one is purified by intelligence, he keeps himself in the mode of goodness. Thus, one becomes the controller of the mind and is always in trance. He is not attached to the objects of sense gratification and is free from attachment and hatred in his activities. Such a detached person naturally prefers to live in a secluded place. He does not eat more than what he requires, and he controls the activities of his mind, body, and mind. He has no false ego because he does not accept the body as himself, nor has he a desire to make the body fat and strong by accepting so many material things. Because he has no bodily concept of life, he is not falsely proud. He is satisfied with everything that is offered to him by the grace of the Lord, and he is never angry in the absence of sense gratification, nor his endeavor to acquire sense objects. Thus, when he is completely free from a false ego, he becomes non-attached to all material things, and that is the stage of self-realization of Brahman. That stage is called the Brahma Bhuta stage. When one is free from the material conception of life, he becomes peaceful and cannot be agitated. This is described in Bhagavad Gita 2.70. Apuryamanam akchala pratistam samudram apaha pravisanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravisanti kar sarve sa santim apnoti na kama kami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. Brahmabhuta, being one with the Absolute, prasannatma, fully joyful, na, never, sochati, laments, na, never, kankshati, desire, samah, equally disposed, sarveshu, to all, bhuteshu, living entities, mad, bhaktim, my devotional service, labate, gains, param, transcendental. One translation, one who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. To the impersonalist, achieving the Brahmabhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation, called Brahmabhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto Him. In the Absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor. Yet, the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. In the material concept of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity who is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain because he is full in the service of Lord. He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with the ephemeral appearances or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahmabhuta stage, and this stage is attained very easily by the pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilating one's individuality becomes hellish. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes phantasmagoria, and the senses are like serpents whose poison teeth are broken. As there is no fear of a serpent with broken teeth, there is no fear from the senses when they are automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the materially infected person, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikunta or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of the Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age.
18.55 Bhaktya mam abhijnanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva visate tad anantaram. Bhaktya, by pure devotional service, mam me abhijnanati, one can know, yavan, as much as, ya cha asmi, as I am, tattvataha, in truth, tataha, thereafter, mam me, tattvataha, in truth, jnatva, knowing, visate, he enters, tattva anantaram, thereafter. Purport, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One can understand me as I am, as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation nor by the non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. As already stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.25, Naham Prakashaha Sarvasya. He is not revealed to everyone. No one can understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. University degrees are not helpful. One who is fully conversant with the Krishna science becomes eligible to enter into the spiritual kingdom, the abode of Krishna. Becoming Brahman does not mean that one loses his identity. Devotional service is there, and as long as devotional service exists, there must be God, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Such knowledge is never vanquished, even after liberation. Liberation involves getting free from the concept of material life. In spiritual life, the same distinction is there, the same individuality is there, but in pure Krishna consciousness, one should not mistakenly think that the word visate enters into me, supports the monoist theory that one becomes homogeneous with the impersonal Brahman. No, Visate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in one's individuality to engage in his association and render service unto him. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree not to become one with the tree, but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. Impersonalists generally give the example of a river flowing into the ocean and merging. This may be a source of happiness for the impersonalist, but the personalist keeps his personal individuality like an aquatic in the ocean. We find so many living entities within the ocean. If we go deep, surface acquaintance with the ocean is not sufficient. One must have complete knowledge of the aquatics living in the ocean depths. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and the opulences of the Supreme Lord in truth. As it is stated in the 11th chapter, only by devotional service can one understand. The same is confirmed here. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service and enter into his kingdom. After attainment of the Brahma Bhuta stage of freedom from material conceptions, devotional service begins by one's hearing about the Lord. When one hears about the Supreme Lord, automatically the Brahma Bhuta stage develops and the material contamination, greediness and lust for sense enjoyment disappears. As lust and desires disappear from the heart of a devotee, he becomes more attached to the service of the Lord, and by such attachment he becomes free from material contamination. In that state of life, he can understand the Supreme Lord. This is the state of Srimad Bhagavatam also. After liberation, the process of bhakti or transcendental service continues. The Vedanta Sutra 4.1.12 confirms this. E prayanat tatrapi hi drishtam. This means that after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as the reinstatement of the living entity in his own identity, his own constitutional position. The constitutional position is already explained. Every living entity is a part and parcel, fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. After liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconceptions of life.
Text 56, chapter 18. Sarvakarmani api sadam kurvano mad vipastraya mad prasada davapnoti sashvatam padamavyayam. Sarva, all. Karmani, activities. Api, although. Sada, always. Kurvana, performing. Mat, vipastraya, under my protection. Mat prasadat, by my mercy. Avapnoti, one achieves. Saswatam, the eternal. Padam, abode. Avyayam, imperishable. Translation. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode of my grace, abode by my grace. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Mad Vipastraya means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about that. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge.
Bhagavad Gita 18.57 Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matpraparaha buddhi yogam upasritya matchitta satatam bhava. Chetasa, by intelligence, sarva karmani, all kinds of activities, mai, unto me, sanyasya, giving up, matpara, under my protection, buddhi yogam, devotional activities, upasritya, taking shelter of, matchitta, chitta, in consciousness of me, satatam, 24 hours a day, bhava, just become. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such a devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as a master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna, but when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in his book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matpara is very important in this verse. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. That order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed.
Text 58, chapter 18. Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atachetvam hankaran nasrusyasi vinangshyasi. Mat of me, chitta being in consciousness, sarva all, durgani impediments, mat prasadat by my mercy, tarishyasi you will overcome, atha but, chet if, tvam you ahankara by false ego, nasroshyati do not hear, vinangshyasi you will be lost. Translation: if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing, you will be lost. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master.
Bhagavad Gita 18.59. Yad ahankaram asritya na yocha iti manyase matyaisa vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshasyati. Yat if ahankaram of false ego asritya taking shelter na yotsye I shall not fight iti thus manyase you think mithya esha this is all false vyavasayaha determination te your prakriti material nature tvam you niyokshati will engage. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of the Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. Actually, he was considering himself master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is the forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. The Supreme Personality gives directions as to what is good and what is bad, and one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the spiritual master who is the representative of God. One should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that will keep one safe under all circumstances.
Text 60. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana kartum nechasi yanmohan karishyasi avasu apitat. Swabhavajena, born of your own nature, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, nibaddha, conditioned, svena, by your own, karmana, activities, kartum, to do, na, not, ichasi, you like, yet, that which, mohat, by illusion, karishyasi, you will do, avasa, involuntarily, api, even, tat, that. Translation. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If one refuses to act under the direction of the Supreme Lord, then he is compelled to act by the modes in which he is situated. Everyone is under the spell of a particular combination of the modes of nature and is acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of the Supreme Lord becomes glorious.
Bhagavad Gita 18.61. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridadeshe arjuna sthitati brahmayan sarva bhutani yatra radhani Mayaya, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities, Hridese, in the location of the heart, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Tishtati, resides, Brahmayan, causing to travel, Sarva Bhutani, all living entities, Yantra, on a machine, Arudhani, being placed, Mayaya, under the spell of material energy. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna was not the supreme knower, and his decision to fight or not to fight was confined to his limited discretion. Lord Krishna instructed that the individual is not all in all, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or He Himself, Krishna, as the localized Super Soul, sits in the heart directing the living being. After changing bodies, the living entity forgets his past deeds, but the Super Soul, as the knower of the past, present, and future, remains the witness of all his activities. Therefore, all the activities of living entities are directed by this Super Soul. The living entity gets what he desires and is carried by the material body, which is created in the material energy under the direction of the Super Soul. As soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. A person seated in a high-speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. Though the living entities, the drivers, may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity so that he may work according to his past deeds. The living entity is not independent. One should not think himself independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The individual is always under the Lord's control. Therefore, one's duty is to surrender, and that is the injection of the next words.
Text 62. Tamiva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavina bharata tat prasadat param shantin sthanam prapsyasi sashvatam. Tam, unto him, eva, certainly, sharanam gaccha, surrender, sarvabhavina, in all respects, Bharata, O son of Bharata, tat prasadat, by his grace, param, transcendental, Santim, peace, sthanam, the abode, prapsyasi, you will get, Sashvatam, eternal. Translation. O scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. By such surrender, not only will one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end he will reach the Supreme Lord. The transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature Rigveda 1.22.20 as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikunta. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishta. The Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So this recommendation that one should surrender unto the super soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma Param Dhamma. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa.
Bhagavad Gita 18.63 Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyataram maya vimsrayatad aseshena yatechasi tatakuru. Iti thus te unto you jnanam knowledge akyatham described guhyat then confidential guhyataram still more confidential maya by me vimsraya deliberating etat on this asheshena fully yatha as ichasi you like tata that guru perform. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on is fully and then do what you wish to do. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord has already explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in the Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments, nor does he desire anything. That is due to confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses knowledge of the Super Soul. This is also Brahman knowledge. Knowledge of Brahman, what is superior. Here the words yatechasi tatakuru, as you like you may act, indicate that God does not interfere with the little independence of the living entity. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has explained in all respects how can one elevate his living condition. The best advice imparted to Arjuna is to surrender unto the Supreme Super Soul seated within the heart. By right discrimination, one should agree to act according to the order of the Super Soul. That will help one become situated constantly in Krishna consciousness. The highest perfectional stage of human life. Arjuna is being directly ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to fight. Surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best interest of the living entities. It is not for the interest of the Supreme. Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on his subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such instruction comes also through the spiritual master, the bona fide representative of Krishna.
Text 64. Sarva guhyatamam bhuya shrunimi param vacha istosi me drudam iti tato vakshyami te hitam. Sarva guhyatamam, the most confidential of all. Bhuya, again. Shrunu, just hear. Me, from me. Paramam, the supreme. Vacha, instruction. Ishtasi, you are dear. Me, to me. Dridam, very. Iti thus. Tata, therefore. Vakshyami, I am speaking. Te, for your hitam. Te, for your hitam, benefit. Translation. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you. My supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, knowledge of the Super Soul within everyone's heart. And now He is giving the most confidential part of knowledge, Just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the end of the 9th chapter, he has said, Manmana, just always think of me. The same instruction is repeated here to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge, and it should be carried out not only by Arjuna but by all living entities. Text 65. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyosimi. Matmana, thinking of me, bhava, just become, mat bhakta, my devotee, matyaji, my worshipper, mam, unto me, namaskuru, offer your obeisances, mam, unto me, eva, certainly, yashyasi, you will come, satyam, truly, te, to you, pratijani, I promise, priya, dear, asi, you are, me, to me. Translation. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's. Text 66. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Sarvadharman, all varieties of religion, parityaja, abandoning, mam, unto me, ekam, only, sharanam, for surrender, vraja, go, aham, I, tvam, you, sarva, all, papebhya, from sinful reactions, moksha ishyami, will deliver, ma, do not, sucha, worry. Translation. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion, knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, knowledge of the different types of orders and status of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. And thus, one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa 11.676. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyatiti vishvaso goptrutve varanam tada atmanikshpepa karpanye sada vida sharanagati. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principle that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order, but if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless, and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted by the super soul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists, but one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, Ma Suchaha, do not fear, do not hesitate, do not worry, or very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless. Text 67. Idam te nata pashkaya na bhaktāya kadāchanam na cha shrushave vacham na cha mam yo abhyasuyati. Idam, this, te, by you, na, never, atapakshaya, to one who is not austere, na, never, abhaktaya, to one who is not a devotee, kadachana, at any time, na, never, cha, also, ashushrave, to one who is not engaged in devotional service, vachyam, to be spoken, na, never, cha, also, mam, toward me, yah, anyone who, abhyasuyati, is envious. This confidential knowledge, translation, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not attended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even the demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in the Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even then, one possesses himself as a devotee of Krishna but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad Gita, for they cannot understand. There is no possibility of faithless persons understanding Bhagavad Gita and Krishna. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad Gita. Text 68. Yaidam paramam guhyam madbhakteshu abhidasyati bhaktim mai param krutva mam yevaishyati asamsayah. Yeah, anyone who, idam, this, paramam, most, guhyam, confidential secret, mat, of mine, bhakteshu, amongst devotees, abhidashyati, explains, bhaktim, devotional service, mai, unto me, pram, transcendental, krutva, doing, mam, unto me, eva, certainly, yeshyati, comes, asamsayaha, without doubt. Translation. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Generally, it is advised that Bhagavad Gita be discussed amongst the devotees only. For those who are not devotees will understand neither Krishna nor Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not accept Krishna as he is and Bhagavad Gita as it is should not try to explain Bhagavad Gita whimsically and become offenders. Bhagavad Gita should be explained to persons who are ready to accept Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. It is a subject matter for the devotees only and not for philosophical speculators. Anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. As a result of such pure devotion, he is sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Text 69. न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमा भविता न च मे तस्मात् अन्य प्रियतरो भुवि. Now, never, cha and tasmad, then him, manushyesu, among men, kaschit, anyone, me, may, to me, priyakrittama, more dear, bhavita, will become, na, nar, cha and may, to me, tasmat, then him, anya, another, priyatara, dearer, bhuvi, in this world. Translation. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Text 70. Adyasyate cha imam dharmyam samvadam avayoh jnanayagnina tenaham yishtasyam iti me mati. Adyasyate will study, cha also, ya he who, imam this, dharmyam sacred, samvadam conversation, avayo of ours, jnana of knowledge, yagnina by the sacrifice, thena by him, aham I, ishta worshipped, sam shall be, iti thus, me my, mati opinion. Translation. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. Text 71. Shraddhavan anasuyascha srunyadapi yonara soapi mukta shubhalokan prapnuyat punya karmanam. Shraddhavan, faithful, anasuya, not envious, cha and shrunyat, does hear, api, certainly, ya, who, nara, a man, sa, he, api, also, mukta, being liberated, shubham, the auspicious, lokan, planets, prapnuyat, he attains, punya karmanam, of the pious. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the 67th verse of this chapter, the Lord explicitly forbade the Gita's being spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is for the devotees only. But it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class, not all the students are expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in Him as Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing the Bhagavad Gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attains the result of righteous activities. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reaction and to become a devotee of the Lord. Generally, those who are free from sinful reaction, those who are righteous, very easily take to Krishna consciousness. The word Punya Karmanam is very significant here. This refers to the performance of great sacrifices like Ashwamedha Yajna mentioned in the Vedic literature. Those who are righteous in performing devotional service but who are not pure can attain the planetary system of the pole star or Dhruvaloka, where Dhruva Maharaj is presiding. He is a great devotee of the Lord and he has a special planet which is called the pole star. Text 72. Kachideta Shrutum Pada Tvaya Kagrena Chetasa Kachidajnana Sammoha Pranashtaste Dhananjaya. Kachit, whether, eta, this, Shrutam, heard, Parda, O Sannapruta, Tvaya, by you, Ekagrena, with full attention, Chetasa, by the mind, Kachit, whether, Ajnana, of ignorance, Sammohaha, the illusion, Pranashta, dispelled, Te, of you, Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna. O Sannapruta, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and delusion now dispelled? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord was acting as a spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain at any point, or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. Actually, anyone who hears Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide spiritual master like Krishna or his representative will find that all his ignorance is dispelled. Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book written by a poet or fiction writer. It is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any person fortunate enough to hear these teachings from Krishna, from his bona fide spiritual representative, is sure to become a liberated person and get out of darkness of ignorance. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Hare Krishna. श्री गुरु चेराना पद्मा केवला भगति सद्मा बंधमुई सावधान माते जहर प्रसादी बाई ही बाबा तोरिया जय जहर प्रसादी बाई हे बाबा तोरिया जय कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जहाँ होते होते गुरुमुख पद्मावज्ञ चित्ते कोरिया क्या पद्मावज्ञ चित्ते कोरिया क्या हरना कोरी हो मानी आशा हरना कोरी हो मानी आशा श्री गुरु चेरानी रति ऐसे उत्तमा गति गुरु चेरानी ऐसे उत्तमा गति जय प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जा विदेगाय जहाँ राचरितो विदेगाय जहाँ राचरितो श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदामा जे नारा बंधु गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदामा जे नारा लोकेनाथ लोके राजीवाना नह प्रभु को रोदोया देहा मोरे पादा चाया ए बेजास गुसुक त्रिभुवाना शिला प्रभुपाद पतिता पावाना जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता
स्वामिन्येति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गणधर शिवसदि गौर भक्तवृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nityai Gaura Hari Bol.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotion service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees.
O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take the shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.